Hello everyone, welcome to the cup draw video for the PCN. So this draw is going to be for the round of 32 for the PCN Cup. Plan originally was to have a big stream tonight and do all three cup draws. So we were going to do the knockouts for both the Royal and Cup of Victoria, as well as this cup draw right here, this round of 32 of the PCN Cup. We did have a reschedule, which made it so we really can't do those other two draws quite yet. So just going to go ahead and do this quick recorded draw here. That way we get the matchup set. And then later this week, probably Thursday or Friday, if all those games get played tomorrow, then we'll have that Valencia-LA game in, and we'll know who the Royal and Victoria participants will be, and then we can do the those two draws as well as the round of 16 then for the League Cup. So that's what the plan is for this week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and look at this draw. So this is our League Cup page. I'm going to look briefly at our round one matchups. So in the first round, we did have Atlanta United beat Porto 5-0. We had Juventus beat Hearts 2-0. Ajax was able to take on their Dutch rivals and win 2-0 against PSV. Arsenal with the 2-1 win against Inter Milan. AC Milan was able to sweat out a 3-2 win over Atalanta. Barcelona 3-0 over Roma. Leverkusen just 1-0 over Braga. Sociedad took extra time to take care of Dortmund. Penalties for Celtic over Sevilla. Chelsea had to go to extra time to beat Bayern. Probably one of the surprises around it, just in terms of a game that was a lot closer than people probably expected. But Chelsea does make it out. Lazio 2-0 over Everton. We've got Toronto 1-0 over Feyenoord. Manchester United 2-1 over Fiorentina. Wolves 4-3 Pens over Frankfurt. I think that was the other one that kind of stood out as a Super League team getting pushed to the limit by a League Two side. Leicester City 2-1 over Inter Miami. LA Galaxy 4-0 over Napoli. Liverpool with a 2-1 win over Athletic Bilbao. Marseille 1-0 over Lille. We had New York City FC 2-0 over Monaco. Newcastle United 1-0 win against Santa Clara. Man City 4-3 in penalties over Racing Club. So that is actually their final. Very close game between Super League and League Two. All three Super League teams did prevail in those games, but it was very close. League Two showing out, pushing it to the limit. You see that again here. Rangers 2-1 win over Atletico Madrid. So Real Madrid did take care of Betis 3-1. Schalke 3-0 win over Leipzig. You had Benfica beat Sporting in the matchup of Portuguese Giants. 2-0 win from Young Boys over Spurs. West Ham with a 3-1 win over PSG. And finally a 5-3 victory Seattle over Wolfsburg. So those 28 winners are going to be joining, I believe, Lyon, LA, Orlando, and I want to say Valencia. Here, all the teams are here, but basically the four teams that got the bye for finishing top four last year in Super League. Don't mind that Sociedad. I was just running a test. So we've got the 32 teams here. It's going to be obviously just a pure random draw, one at a time. So without further ado, let's go and get it going. First team out is going to be Real Madrid. Exiles crew sitting there in the top 6 in Super League right now. Taking on a West Ham team from League 2. So like I was mentioning, those competitive Super League League 2 matchups. We'll see if that is one of those indeed in this round. Next up is going to be Young Boys, currently top of the Super League. They'll be taking on a Lyon team, which has started to slip in recent days, recent game days. Not 100% sure what's going on with them. Hopefully they will have a team for tomorrow. Our next matchup is going to feature Chelsea. Switch from Valencia from last season. Just kind of doing their thing. Currently in 4th place, I believe. And they'll be taking on a Seattle team, which has had a real come up this season. Looking like strong contenders for promotion in League One. That should be another test for Chelsea. Next up will be Arsenal. Team gone down to League One, is having a decent start to their first ever season in League One, trying to get back right away to Super League and taking on Liverpool, fellow Premier League side. Good result there in round 1. Hopefully they can keep their cup run going. Next matchup will feature Marseille as well from League Two. You can see a lot of League Two teams did actually make it through. I think it was around half of them did, which is really impressive. And they'll be taking on the Juve team, which are kind of sitting there lower mid table in Super League, and taking on Benfica team, which I believe are currently in sixth in Super League. Really good start. Been a little bit tough ever since, but still a ton of talent over there. It's hard to deny them, and they'll be taking on a Lazio team. That's a tough matchup for the League One side. Next up, LEFC team that, after a really surprising strong top four finish last season, currently sits in the relegation zone in Super League, and they'll be taking on Orlando Pirates team, which they were trying to track down last season for the title. So that Orlando team currently in second, taking on bottom of the league LA. New York City FC, I think, has perhaps surprised some to just be a perfectly solid mid-table team in the season Super League. I think some people were talking about them as a relegation candidate, but so far this season, I think they're picking up points at a rate where it's going to be tough for them to go down if they keep it up. But that is the key, is to keep it up. And then they'll be taking on a Wolverhampton team, which are trying to climb out of that relegation zone. So it's a good even matchup there. Next up, Newcastle United from League One. Team was really trying to solidify this season, and maybe not going to be promotion on the cards, but just trying to have a solid season. And we're taking on Valencia team, which are kind of trying to push into that top six mix in Super League. Next team out is going to be Leicester City, team that is doing solidly in League Two. Lots of the old heads over there, mentioned before. And then we're taking on Barcelona team, which are currently top of League One, a resurgent Barca, so it's a good matchup there. Next up is going to be Toronto, team back in the league in League Two, doing all right down there. And they'll be taking on a Bayer Leverkusen team, which have been a bit up and down in Super League. I think that they're kind of lower mid-table as well. Next game will feature Schalke from League Two. I think I've said League Two more than I ever have in a round of 32, so that's always great to see. And we take on a Man U team, which are just doing their thing, chugging along in Super League. Next up is going to be Celtic from League Two, team that had a bit of a slow start, but have been really looking strong recently. And they'll be taking on Atlanta United from Super League, which have also been one of the surprises, I think, in Super League, currently sitting there in third place. Next up is Real Sociedad from League One, got promoted last season. Been doing okay this season, probably a little below where they thought they might be, and taking an LA Galaxy team, which has actually, I think, been one of the surprises of Super League so far, a team that is right there in that mix for top six. It's really good from them, so they can keep it up in the cups. Just two matchups remain. One of them is going to feature Rangers from League Two, team that is trying to get promotion out of there, and will be taking on Manchester City from Super League under Panda. They've been solid this season. They get another team just fighting for that top six. Which means our final matchup is going to feature AC Milan, and they'll be hosting. Who they're going to be hosting. They're going to be hosting Ajax, or Ajax. Oh boy, Ajax with Ajax and AC Milan. That's how the draw is going today. So looking forward to all these matchups here tomorrow night. Like I said, we should be back hopefully later this week with a super draw. That'll be a live one. Yeah, should be fun. Looking forward to it. And so if you guys are still playing in these cups, good luck. And if not, then there's always next season. Outro music.